Hello, everybody. It's Gerald Salenti with the man of men, Judge Andrew Napolitano, on this April 2nd, the day after April Fool's Day. But, Judge, the fools, it's every day in this country anymore. It's an April Fool's Day, one day after another. And, again, there's nobody out there. I just want to make this really clear. When it comes to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, what used to be called the Declaration of Independence, we won't talk about that anymore, that knows more about it than Judge Andrew Napolitano. And he puts the facts down when he talks about it. So it's not empty language like the politicians use. Judge, you have an article coming out tomorrow, and you say, taking the Constitution seriously. The U.S. Constitution was crafted in 1787, both to establish a new central government and to limit it. Some of the limitations are direct, some are subtle, and some are hidden. The chief instrument of limitation is the separation of powers, the brainchild of James Madison. You go on to state, the late Justice Antonin Scalia called the separation of powers the most unique and freedom-enhancing aspect of the document. First of all, thank you for writing this, but you said taking the Constitution seriously. What do you mean taking it seriously? From everything you've been saying week after week, month after month, year after year, there's no Constitution left.
The concluding line is a very gloomy one. Do the president and the Congress take the Constitution seriously? The answer is obvious that they don't. Sometimes even the courts don't take it seriously when they bend over backwards to let the Congress get away with ruinous taxation and ruinous regulation, and the president get away with a version of authoritarianism. What prompted me to write this is the Benjamin Netanyahu-inspired suppressions of free speech on college campuses and the summary punishment without trial of people lawfully here, but born in foreign countries because the government doesn't like their speech. We got two violations there. One is of the First Amendment because the government has no right to evaluate the content of speech. And the other is of the Fifth Amendment. The government cannot take life, liberty, or property without a hearing. 2 days ago, the government admitted. Now, I got to tell you, the government never admits in court when it has made a mistake. This time they did because they had no choice. They deported the wrong guy.
Yeah.
And he's in a hellhole in El Salvador, a prison that couldn't exist under the Eighth Amendment, which prohibits cruel and unusual punishment, here in the United States, where he's in a cell the size of a coffin. And the Trump administration, instead of saying, we're sorry about this, we're going to get him back, boasted about it and said, he's no choir boy. Well, it doesn't matter if he's a choir boy or not. A federal judge heard a hearing 6 years ago and granted him asylum. In those 6 years, he didn't commit a crime. He hasn't been accused of crime. He got married. He has children. He works productively in Maryland. One day, masked men just picked him up off the street, threw him in the back of a truck, shipped him to El Salvador with no hearing. He's not a gang member. In fact, according to this federal judge, he fled El Salvador to avoid the gangs. Now he's surrounded by them in a prison, and Trump won't make a phone call to get him back. That's why the Constitution requires hearings. And when the government, when the executive branch thumbs its nose at the Constitution, this is what happens. Who's next? Who are they going to swoop up off the streets? Masked men with guns and no visible badges or nameplates. Who are they going to do this to next?
Well, they just did it to that young lady. They threw her down in Louisiana, too.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you see these videos of these arrogant little boys. They're so tough, all dressed in black with their masks on. Arresting her for what? For what? Because she came out against genocide?
Right.
Judge, You're not allowed to say anything bad about Israel's mass murder going on in front of everybody's eyes. Again, we write about this week after week, month after month, year after year in the Trends Journal about what they're doing to the Palestinian people. We did a podcast yesterday, and I asked Jane, my assistant, I had all these newspapers from the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, showing the front page pictures of what they're putting out there and telling us about. Oh, there was an earthquake in Myanmar. One after another showing all this stuff. Not one picture showing the mass murder of all these Palestinians. They just killed about another, since Monday, I think they killed about another 45 Palestinians in Gaza.
Wow. On either Sunday or Monday, the IDF executed one after another 15 UN healthcare workers, one after another. And Tammy Bruce, who's my former colleague at Fox and is now the spokesperson for the State Department, refused to answer questions about it and said, ask Hamas. It's Hamas's fault. It's Hamas's fault. It's Netanyahu's fault. And it's our fault. Those are bullets and guns paid for by the American taxpayer being used to execute innocents in cold blood.
Your guy you knew at Fox, a little prostitute, a media whore that gets paid to put out by his corporate pimps and government whoremasters. I'd love to see this guy face to face and say, you little damn coward, you little slime ball. What the hell is the matter with you? Oh, by the way, the IDF threw them into a mass grave too.
Yes.
Yes.
So
our friend about this in the major media.
No,
totally
our friend Pepe Escobar refers to Hegseth as the Fox News clown pretending to be the Secretary of Defense.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say he's right. It's very sad.
Again, what the whole damn Trump administration, look, it's a Fox clown show. Look at all the jerk-offs he got from Fox that he got over there. And again, I love that guy, Heggs, doing his push-ups, Heggs. Oh, look how tough I am. And what the hell is the matter with you? You saw that picture of him doing push-ups?
Yes. He's his body is a fetish to him.
Yeah.
And he somehow thinks he will ingratiate himself with the troops by doing that. The Washington Post actually did the country a service by interviewing troops who blasted the daylights out of him, saying he can't even keep attack plans secret. He actually endangered us. Well, they shouldn't be over there to begin with.
Yeah.
But they certainly shouldn't be putting attack plans out to the public and then lying about it. Rather than appearing before Congress under oath to justify what he did, he took a trip to Japan, obviously on government expense, and while there said the United States is ready to defend Taiwan against the Chinese. And Ritter and McGregor reacted exactly as you are, Gerald, saying he's out of his mind if he thinks the United States military could beat the Chinese over Taiwan. I mean, just think of the logistics of getting men and material there. They wouldn't even make it there. They'd be stopped militarily before they got there.
You mean China with the biggest naval in the world? That China?
That China.
1.4 billion people? Oh, the America that couldn't beat the Afghans? The America that couldn't beat the Iraqis?
That America.
The America that slaughtered over 3 million Vietnamese and lost that war?
That America.
Yeah.
Same people.
Yeah.
Same mentality.
Again, it's a clown show, and the guy running the show is I took out the trademark presidential reality show when Trump first ran back in 2016. It's a reality show. He's a comedian. That's all he is. Judge, I want to go back to your article over here for a moment. And everybody, again, go to Judging Freedom. The people that the judge has on, there's nobody like it. Nowhere, any place, anyhow. And it's great because they're doing everything in the name of what this country used to stand for. Life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness that's been stolen from us. And Judge, you mentioned here in your article, Congress and the president are answerable to the voters. No, they're not.
They're answerable.
You write that.
They're answerable to the people who fund their campaigns.
That's it.
And in America, that's AIPAC.
Yep.
American Israeli Political Action Committee, which, according to Congressman Thomas Massie, has assigned a representative to just about every member of Congress. Massie said, "Thanks, but no thanks."
Yep. Massie's the only guy out there just about that I respect, by the way.
Yes.
I'd love to see him run for president.
Yes.
And again, Congress and the president are answerable to the voter. Do you remember? Let's go back 5 years ago, 2020. Oh, when Trump ordered on March 13th, Black Friday, national state of emergency and locked down the country. Look what the politicians did to this country and around the world in locking down everybody to fight the COVID war.
Right.
Look at the power that these politicians exerted. We have no rights anymore. They stand 6 feet apart. The wind blows exactly in straight lines. That's every 6 feet. Remember when you used to go into the stores and they had arrows going up and down the alley, up and down the aisles? Yeah.
Yes.
Remember that? Remember?
All government mandated.
Yep. And Judge, remember, when you whack off, you better sanitize your hands. I mean, let's make up any kind of crap we want.
Yeah.
These are the politicians that have taken over the freedom of our country. And there's hardly anybody fighting back, but the people on Judging Freedom are fighting back. And of course, we are too with Occupy Peace and what we're doing. But the people better stand up and do something because we're going into, in my lifetime, I'm the same age as Trump. I've never seen anything like this before. This is the most dangerous future that we're heading into. And now he's already talking about running for a third term. He's not even in it for 3 months.
It's a terrible state of affairs. And I hate to say this, unless the Democrats take control of one of the houses of Congress, this is just going to keep, or the federal courts grow a backbone, this is just going to keep going on and on and on.
Yeah, but the Democrats, you talk about a backbone? It's a clown show. There's nobody there. Oh, what happened to the guy, Chucky Schumer? Oh, yeah, Chucky Schumer's glasses like this.
Yeah. Schumer's office, his New York City office, is right across the street from where I am now, surrounded by barricades and police. That's how unpopular he's become. He's got to be escorted into and out of the building.
Yeah.
I see that every day when he's here.
Yep. You're seeing it.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier that we at one time revered the Declaration of Independence, but we don't any longer, because the linchpin of the Declaration of Independence is the right to pursue happiness. And the government doesn't give a damn if people want to pursue happiness. It only cares if we obey and pay. That's what the government cares about.
Obey and pay. Yep. You write over here, can Congress or the president punish speech or deny process? The textbook answer to this question is a resounding no. But history is replete with examples of presidents from John Adams to Donald Trump complying with statutes that support to enable them to punish speech or deny due process.
Unfortunately, that's what's been going on. I mean, the same generation, in some cases, the very same people that ratified the First Amendment, Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech, voted for the Alien and Sedition Acts, which made it a crime to criticize the government's foreign policy. At the time, we were in a war against France. So the same human beings that said Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech did, in fact, abridge the freedom of speech. The world looks very different when you're in power looking out than when you're out of power looking in. And it is the duty of judges, and they don't always do it, but it is the duty of judges to stop the other two branches of the government when they trample our liberties. But the system presumes that people will comply with due process. Trump doesn't. This guy that we talked about earlier that's in the hellhole in El Salvador, there was an order prohibiting his deportation. They deported him anyway. The kid in Louisiana, the Columbia student, there was an order prohibiting removing him from New York City. They removed him anyway. The medical school professor at Brown University stopped at Boston Logan Airport. There was an order prohibiting her deportation. They deported her anyway. It is very, very dangerous times. They suppress speech. They deny due process. They ignore and violate court orders. When the president ignores and violates court orders, when the government becomes a law breaker, that sends a message around the country about breaking the law with impunity. Very, very, very dangerous times, about as dangerous as anything in your lifetime and mine.
That's what I said. And what you just say, the government could break the laws with impunity.
Right. When the government becomes a law breaker, it sends a message to potential law breakers around the country. And this becomes contagious. The government becomes a law unto itself. It decides what laws it will enforce and what laws it will obey. That's not what we elected it for. The least we expect of government is that it will comply with the laws with which the rest of us must comply. You lose a case, okay, the judge signs an order, you comply with the order. Due process, a fair trial before a neutral judge, means you will respect and follow the outcome. What does Trump do? Trashes the judge and disobeys the order.
Oh, look at all the pardons he gives to everybody. How about that crap?
Yeah.
He just gave one to this guy that robbed people of their money or something. One after another.
But the guy swindled millions.
How much?
Millions. You know, there's a federal statute that makes it a crime to bribe a foreign official or a foreign businessman. So if you and I were selling widgets, we went to a widget store in London and bribed the guy to carry our widgets, that would be a federal crime. When we came back to the U.S., we would be indicted. Trump has directed the Attorney General not to enforce that statute. Why? Well, his two sons are going around the world trying to establish more Trump hotels. Need I say more?
You know, the guy, by the way, I forgot the guy's name that he just pardoned. The guy, they gave him $1.6 million for his campaign.
Yeah. Well, look at Bill Clinton pardoned Mark Rich, who gave $100 million to the Clinton Foundation.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
I know. $100 million, a little slime ball like Bill Clinton. Every time he got caught with his pants down, bombs away over Baghdad. That Bill Clinton?
Same one.
Yeah.
He bombed a pharmaceutical plant the day he was interrogated before a grand jury, just to get the media's attention off the interrogation.
It's so sad what's happened to this country, but Judge Andrew Napolitano and the great people he have on there and myself, and we're fighting for everything we can to bring freedom back to this country. And it's up to the people to unite to do it. And, Judge, one of the articles in the Trends Journal about how the billionaires have gotten richer again, they don't give a penny for peace. The billionaires don't give anything for this country to make it a positive country. Nothing for a renaissance, nothing for the betterment. only for themselves. And Judge, you have who do you have coming on?
Well, I have the great Phil Giraldi today, and I have Pepe Escobar. Pepe is coming from Yemen, and he's going to tell about the resistance of these Yemenis people to 23 years of American bombs.
And what did he
see? Yemen. Most Americans couldn't even tell you where it is. Does it pose the slightest threat to American national security? Of course not.
Wait, you know, how dare you say that? President Trump said that they're a threat to the United States, and it's those Iranians that are supporting them, and the Iranians are going to pay the price for this.
Right.
Yeah. Again.
Well, the Yemenis cannot fight back. The Iranians can. And standing behind Tehran are Moscow and Beijing.
Again, there are 91 million Iranians. They're very advanced scientifically, technologically, and militarily. And it's really played down by this country. And again, going back to it's Saudi Arabia bombing Yemen, it began, you know when it began? It began in 1934 when they invented the Saudi mob that they call the king. Right. The first country that they tried to steal the land was from the Houthis, which borders Saudi Arabia. And again, if they were Italian, they call them the mafia, you know? Oh, no, I'm the king. You know, we could steal anything we want and do anything we want. But going back to it, and it was the Nobel Peace of Crap Prize winner, Barack Obama, that really escalated the war with Saudi Arabia and slaughtered over 500,000 Yemenis while he was president.
Yes. Tell me that's not a war crime.
Nah, hey, I'm the president. I could do what I want. What's the matter with you? Judge, thanks for being here. Thanks for all you do. And remember, everybody, Judging Freedom. That's the place to go if you want to learn more and know what's going on next when it comes to world events. Thank you so much, Judge.
Thank you, Gerald. God bless you. See you soon.